right, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon or evening. Good to have such an international audience here. Fantastic. Paul Tranny here with the one and only Justin Mezzell.
Hey.
I assume there's only one of you, but you do a lot of work, so I'm beginning to wonder.
I mean, in the Google search, I'm the only one I've found so far. And I have done the Facebook search where you look for your name and you try to find others. Because I feel like I always heard of other people connecting with others.
Yeah. It's good if you're the only one with that name because it makes you owning all those social media properties easy.
I'm the only one in this present reality, this universe. But
There
there
we
are,
go.
in theory, infinite versions of me as well.
Yeah, we're getting deep, and that's very futuristic thinking, kind of like what we did yesterday. So we got a full day today. Justin, we have you for a couple hours. We have a full schedule, so we can kind of talk about that real fast. So we'll just kind of show you, click through the schedule today, and they were with us yesterday, but this week on Adobe Live, Justin, for a couple hours, shifting gears. You'll see what we'll work on there, but we'll have a new theme today. Julia Zawava will be with Kathleen later. Marley with myself, and again, the styles changed, but it's all vector art. And Sarah Bell kind of bringing up from 3 to 5, doing more cartography stuff. So it kind of runs the gamut, but it's all vector-based artwork, which is really fun seeing everybody's kind of different style. And I know I want to look at your piece, and then, I know you were also kind of inspired by Marley's, and we can talk about that later, but I think it's really cool. I've seen things posted to Instagram based on the stream from yesterday, inspired by your stuff, so we can...
Yeah, so this was yesterday. I do feel like it would be awesome if there was cued music that'd be previously on Adobe Live. And then it was just every now and then just audio clips of us. That'd be really cool. So this is what we did yesterday. We just did kind of a city composition going on right there. This is where we got, at least. I know we didn't really get to any of the post-processing kind of stuff like that. I'm sure we will have some time this week to kind of do that over time. Just kind of based on where we ended yesterday, I was thinking, let's do something a little different today, only just to kind of branch out and start working in other mediums. I mean, we had a pretty wide open color palette, so I was thinking today it might be a little more fun to start messing with composition and maybe a limited color palette and sort of how we might build in that world. And then, we can kind of juxtapose both of those to kind of show the differences we sort of build.
No, but yesterday was really good. And by the way, these are all being recorded. They're available on demand. Watch them later. Stay with us live right now, but you can kind of scrub through the building out of this, of the buildings.
Yeah, we got real basic geometry.
Yeah, and just watching you work was really interesting. You're it's kind of just a lot of hard work, but man, your decision making when it comes to just dealing with lighting, because one of the first things you did is you drew a circle, a yellow circle in the upper right, said this is the light source.
There it is. Yeah.
And therefore, how is everything going to interact? And you actually worked with color directly, and it just looked really good. So check that out later. So welcome, everybody. Lisa, Dana, let us know where you're from. We're here in beautiful San Francisco.
We are.
It's getting nicer. Every day it's getting a little nicer, right?
It is, and it has been really nice.
Yeah, you're really enthused with this weather.
I am. I'm having a good time. I'm from Salt Lake, so it's a little cold there right now, which I do dig the cold, but it's been really refreshing to only wear a hoodie and be able to walk around. I mean, San Francisco's the hoodie city of the world.
Just wear this light jacket, that's it. So let us know where you're from. Looks like we have an Indianapolis in the house. Somebody wishing us a Merry Christmas, I think, which we can do that. Hey, why not?
Christmas is a state of mind.
Are we at the Chinese New Year yet?
Sure.
I don't know. But anyways, Denmark's in the house. It's 10:30 for Shivans. Belfast in the house. Paris. So people from all over. People actually from the future, actually.
This is incredible.
Happening.
Yeah.
Living in the future. Did Justin nail it?
There are
Your
branching
futuristic city.
And this is it.
New Mexico. Awesome. Ramona. Sunny. Arunima, good to have you here, Sarah and Layla. We also have a contest going on. I'll mention that real fast, and then we'll dive into what we're going to do today. But essentially, there's a little contest tab just behind chat, and we're shifting gears a little bit today. So just click on contest, and what you can make today if you want to participate is an avatar. So that's the challenge for today. Make an avatar, which is just a digital representation of someone using Adobe Illustrator, as you can see right here. Scroll down, you can kind of check out Julia does some of this. of one of our guests or hosts. So somebody on the stream today, essentially, is who you'd make an avatar of.
I would love one.
Justin would love one.
I'm just saying.
Yes,
really
do it. You got the cool glasses. Do it. So again, avatar, digital representation of Justin or a guest or whoever, and submit that via the bit.ly right here, and we'll review those in about an hour and a half. And honestly, during every session for every guest. So you can get started on that, and that would be super cool. All right, Kendra's a couple minutes late. Hey, we don't mind. We're just getting started right now. We can see your screen, Justin.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the screen.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Okay, yeah, well, let's let's dive on in then. Absolutely. Yeah, so today, like I said, we are going to do something a little bit different. You know, when you're plotting a city, you kind of have like a line that is the ground, and you kind of build buildings on top of that. So I thought it'd be a little fun today to start messing around with some interesting compositions and like limit our colors so that we're creating depth, dimension, lighting with a limited color palette. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to make a brand new document right here. And we are kind of building with, the only thing I really had in mind was like space would be a fun one to do. You know, we've got space travel, we've got like astronomy and planets, like it's a pretty wide open thing. And hopefully what we're able to do in this kind of one is like build some pretty different pieces. Some of them feel a little more organic, some of them feel a little more mechanical, and we can kind of just, you know, build as we go. And I have no idea what it'll end up looking like, and that's kind of the fun. We did do 800 by 800. Again, it doesn't really matter to me because we are going to go ahead and hide that artboard.
What's that shortcut for hiding the artboard? That should be under view somewhere.
It is.
Oh, there we go.
Hide artboard. Wow, actually my mouse just was on it. And I didn't even know.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so you can show artboard, or you can, you know, Command Shift H. I'm just going to hide that artboard because to us, the artboard is wonderful. It's helpful, but for all intents and purposes today, we don't really care about the size because it's vector and we can scale it as much as we want. And yeah, so that's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and save because it's the right thing to do.
Look at you right away.
Yeah, exactly. This time I remember. I think we worked for like 30 minutes yesterday.
Oh, you called it space. I thought you called it epic. I'm gonna call mine epic.
Yeah, you should call it epic. I feel real good about that today. So we don't know all the elements that we're gonna build. This is a great time to go ahead to Google and just Google anything like space. This is a fun way to do it, and start saying, all right, so like let's say the brief was, you know, we're working on an editorial piece and it was a piece about, you know, like space flight and space travel, and so like what would those elements sort of be? So we can also do space flight now. I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna click it though. All right, so we got some stuff over here, and then maybe just so we get something that's a little more different than like the modern stuff, we can do like vintage space and hope that we get some like really interesting kind of like paraphernalia of some of that kind of stuff, and we'll kind of see what's there. Yeah, some cool stuff. And then another cool way, I always find this, like if you look for like vintage space toys and stuff, I think like toys have always been like a really interesting kind of thing that we've had where it's like, yeah, see, like they just like, they play in some really weird worlds. And so it's like a really interesting artistic representation of things, I always feel like. So usually toys are just kind of fun to look at, like, oh wow, like there's this really weird wonky rocket right here that was like, it's super bizarre, but super cool. Or like this car right here is like really awesome.
Yeah.
So
that is really cool.
That's a fun way to do it.
That is really cool. That's super fun.
Awesome. So we'll go ahead and start looking at, you know, what are some ideas we could kind of bring to this. Obviously we need a rocket of some sort. I think the first thing that we will make is we're going to go like, maybe we'll get like a piece in the middle that's sort of like anchoring that. And so a cool way to do that might be to do like a planet that kind of exists in the middle over here. So we'll go back over to our document. We're going to go ahead and select our ellipse tool. Go ahead and change this, maybe just to black, because right now it doesn't really matter. We haven't yet set what our, let's say, 4 colors are going to be yet, but we can create like a little ellipse right here. And if you don't know, when I'm creating an ellipse, what I'm doing is I'm clicking on the point that I want. Oh, we should probably do the grid first. We'll explain to you what the grid setup is.
Space toys.
So we're doing grid lines every 80. and 10 subdivisions. That's going to be 80 divided by 10, which is going to give us 8. So every one of those squares is going to be 8 points or 8 pixels across. It's going to be helpful. It's a super divisible number. I recommend working with it. It's really nice to scale with, and it's good for exporting and getting into more raster files, so you don't have any strange aliasing. When I'm creating a circle, we are right now snapping to the grid. So if you go to View, you can go to Snap to Grid right here. And what that means is every time that we're drawing a point, it's actually going to like pick one that's like at the intersection of a grid line. That's super helpful for us because it's kind of informing a visual scale for us that we can kind of build with. So we're going to basically determine how much detail something gets based on how many grid points we have available. So on your first item that you draw, maybe you could change it over time and be like, well, maybe that's not enough detail. That's okay. You can scale things, you can move them around. But I usually just have like a best guess when I first start building and think, yeah, this is probably about the detail that a piece like this size would get. So we've got this ellipse right here. Now, when you draw an ellipse, typically, it's just going to go like, wah. But if you hold Shift, you are able to get it so it's the 1:1 proportion, so it looks like a circle. And if you're drawing it, and you hold down Option and Shift, now it's going to go like basically blooming out from the point that you selected, which for me is a little helpful because like I want to build out from that little spot right there. That's going to be like the center of our piece. So we've got this. We're going to go ahead and change the color. Right now, like I said, I don't really know what colors we're going to be using, but we can go ahead and set up some temporary ones for now. So I like purple. So I do have this purple that I've used before. They're going to change it a bit just to have something a little different.
If you're going to make like a rocket and they're making avatars, we should put one of the avatars in the rocket if we could.
That would be awesome. So give us some good avatars.
A little window, and we'll drop an avatar in.
I like that. So something that you can do, all right, again, like you don't need super final colors, at least in my opinion. When I'm working in Illustrator, you don't need really final colors yet. Find some colors that are working for you. You definitely can tweak them later, especially with like the select alike kind of stuff right there. And Kendra, I don't always work in RGB, but because this is going to be just a digital one, we are going to stay in RGB for now. And then we can change the profile if we really needed to.
Good question.
So like let's just find 3 colors because I'm sure that one of our colors is just going to be white, and we'll use that. And then we need like a super dark color. So the reason why we're thinking a super dark color is because it's going to help us with dimension. So let's see. We're just going to make up some colors here. We're going to get in here. And then maybe we want like a color that's kind of like in the middle. And for that, maybe we'll do kind of like a...
And these aren't shade, you're just picking 3 different colors that are kind of related.
Sure, yeah, and we're messing around with that hue, saturation, and brightness scale right there.
You know what you should do? You should make these global colors.
Global colors?
Let's do that.
Oh, teach me about global colors.
So when you're ready to, you want to turn that into a swatch. So once you have those 3 colors dialed in, we'll save them as a swatch, and we'll make sure global colors is selected, which is actually selected by default now. Okay. So that means when you change that purple, it'll change it everywhere.
Oh, so maybe you want that, maybe you don't. You don't even have to press the select all alike and stuff like that.
But I'm used to doing that, by the way. But global colors is at least an option you should know about.
One thing that you can do, so if you're trying to build a color palette right now and you want to kind of see like how they plug and play with one another so you don't have any like vibrating colors or something like this, what I often do is I set up like a little visual. So maybe it'll look, I just kind of take geometry and I just start trying to just set up a little abstract area to start testing some of this kind of stuff. So to make it perfect, what would I need? You know what? Let's just make it easy. Let's not even worry about that part of the grid. Let's just do that. What I'm looking for is how these colors kind of like play off of one another. If something is a little too strong, we're going to want to dial it back. If something is vibrating, we definitely don't want to have that. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just setting up some like little abstract geometric patterning just so we can see the nature and the relationship of these colors and start testing out how they're playing.
Yeah, so I mean, you do have to tweak the colors if you change it to CMYK if you're working in RGB. When you switch to CMYK, you might have to tweak it just,
it's not like
just so
perfect.
you know. Yeah, there might be the cat music might be playing too. So there might be a cat avatar. because they're like, that was on the stream. I swore I heard a cat.
So for now, these colors are feeling
really
pretty good.
cool.
Yeah, and it just gives us a nice way to be able to see like an overview of like, all right, how are these all kind of feeling?
You kind of make me sick because that looks really cool.
Yeah, we're done. We're actually done. This is the piece. Yay, goodbye. So let's see. Cool. All right, so we've got these. This is also like a cool time to start saying, all right, like what can we do? Like this pink right here is pretty cool. I wonder if we could saturate it like a little bit more, and then maybe add a little bit more like red orange to it. I think that would just make it like a little hotter. Yeah. And for right now, that feels like a really nice beginning. Could I show an example of some colors that vibrate? I'm not sure if it'll capture really well on stream, but like, let's say we had like this pink right here, and let's find like a real funky color for this. Like, well, I mean, that could work, but it's just really intense. Like, ooh boy. That's it. Yeah, that's rough. That's not feeling real nice right now.
Yeah, it's not. It's almost like an eye chart. Can you see, are there two colors there or one?
So I mean, every time that I think of like putting colors together, I had this friend that I would always call angry fruit salad. That was what he would call like really bad color palettes. So every time that I'm making one, I'm trying to avoid making one that looks like angry fruit salad. That's kind of it for me. All right, so we've got these elements right here, and the reason that we have done that is, like I said, we're gonna think sort of like a screen print might work. And so what that would mean is like, let's say we had like two colors, like this pink right here and this purple, and every time that those colors are intersecting, we can think of them as hitting like the darker color right there. We won't do everything like a screen print. It's not going to be like we're separating colors and doing any different layers or anything, but it's just a way to start thinking about those things. And we pretty much always want, or at least I do when I'm creating limited color palettes, a scale of like light to dark on there so that I can keep track of how the lighting works on something like that. Obviously we've got white as our lightest, and then pink, and then purple, and then dark.
I kind of wanted to point out, because I like how you have that hue, saturation, and brightness. So when you're picking these three colors, you shifted the hue, but you kept the saturation and the bright. Like you've only messed with maybe one of those, maybe two, but not all three.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have that color harmony because you're maybe shifting the hue, but keeping the saturation and brightness the same.
And we did build them out of like a similar color. So it's like we took the purple, and that was our purple that we kind of manipulated, but then we had the same base that we continued building the other colors out of. And these are all just best guesses. Once we get into Photoshop, we can change that for sure.
Daniel Newman uses the recolor artwork button in
I don't think I've ever used that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
We'll use it, Daniel. We'll use it. We'll have some fun today, so that's good.
Yeah, and feel free. Yeah, we probably didn't say this yet today. Like, if you have tips, you have tricks that you work with, please let us know. Like, not only could we benefit from it personally sitting in these chairs, but there are also people in the chat who maybe don't know a specific way to do something. And there's so many ways to do things.
And we have a lot of smart people on the stream.
We really
too,
do.
So
and then there's us.
To this. And then there's us. It's like, geez, they'll just let anybody sit there, won't they? No.
So we've got the ellipse right here, and this ellipse is going to be the planet that we're kind of messing with. So I'm thinking that we do some sort of like Jupiter-ish kind of like planet that's sort of like in the middle. It's going to be our anchor piece. Ooh, where'd I get my shirt
Actually,
from?
can you go full screen? Do you mind, Francisco? Just because like if they're creating avatars, they might need to see you. Go full screen with us so they can see your shirt.
Oh yeah.
If you don't mind.
Hi. Super duper cosmic.
And this is, I mean, since they're doing avatars, now's your chance to do a screenshot.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Do a screenshot. So you got to do a,
Oh, I gotta see the shirt.
You got to do a pose. They're gonna do a screenshot. Or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we've had that for a while. So yeah, this shirt is actually from Andy J Pizza. If you've ever listened to Creative Pep Talk, it is his personal brand of goods. And they are super fantastic and super positive and super duper cosmic, which felt like the right shirt to wear while we're doing a space thing. So that was the reason for it.
I like it.
Cool. So we've got the circle. So far we have made a circle pink. So we've done a lot. And now what we're gonna go ahead and do is start figuring out what is like this banding on this planet that we've got. And so a fun way to do that would be, we're gonna make some organic looking lines. And so the way that I would do that is I'm gonna draw a line right here using the pen tool. We press P and we clicked here and we went to the other. And so now we've got this line that goes directly across. I'm gonna sample this color right here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Effect, Distort and Transform. I'm gonna go to Zigzag. And what this does, you can check in the preview, is now it's applying to my line, like, you know, that zigzag that's going right there. I'm going to go ahead and make it smooth, like that. And then I'm going to bring down the size a little bit, maybe. And then, I mean, I like 8. I'll always like 8. It's just a great number. And then I think like this is probably about what I want, which is like we want like 2 high waves and then like 2 low. So that gives us that 2 segment right there. We can increase that. For me, you know, I do like working in elements of 4 right there. So we'll go ahead, throw that down. So I'm going to expand this. And what that does is it's not destroying the shape that we've made. It's going to keep it. But now the actual line is now just a stroked version with that effect applied. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and, wait, if you do that, that won't work. But we're going to go reflect it over horizontal. And now we've kind of got this shape right here. So what this is going to be for us is this is going to be like one of those like color bands that sort of moves across it. So I'm going to go ahead and put these shapes together.
Pen tool, boom, boom.
And then I'm going to duplicate this item because I'm going to use the Pathfinder. And if you have questions, absolutely feel free. We are here to answer questions. So if there's something that I do that you don't know how I'm doing it, please let us know. More than happy to walk back. We've got these 2 elements selected. Now we're going to use the Pathfinder right here to go to the intersection of these objects. And so now we've got this sort of line that runs across this little planet right here.
For those of you who also know, you can use that could be a clipping mask. If you
it could, absolutely. So you could do a clipping mask. I typically do use destructive elements to be able to create these because when I go to outline mode, I want to know like exactly where everything is rather than having like elements that are hanging out. But you absolutely could do clipping masks in this situation.
Kevin Worth, you missed the screenshot. You could always scrub back in this player, by the way, to any point in time to the very beginning or back 3 minutes. That's cool. So what? And this is like an unknown new planet.
Yeah, it's just a real funky looking planet. I'm gonna go ahead and do just a couple organic kind of shapes that sort of run through it. Maybe it's got like a hard line down here, and then maybe at the bottom we've kind of got like a little one here. Go ahead and duplicate that and apply that effect.
Here this is for inspiration for you.
What you got?
Just real fast. This is actually a picture. This is pretty recent from NASA, awesome. But this is a picture of Jupiter that was sent back from what was the little. Anyways, so this was just taken, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
It is awesome.
Again, you can get some cool like this. This actually exists as a place.
Yeah, space is pretty legit.
Yeah, space
is pretty legit.
Legit. Unless this is all just Photoshop and, you know, we really haven't gone anywhere.
There is definitely a way to make that. I don't know how, but I know that there could be a way to do that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go ahead. This little icon right here, what this is going to do is it constrains our proportions when we start manipulating these elements right here. So this is our width. This is our height. When you adjust this, let's say I made it 36, you can tell that those proportions are being maintained. For something like this right now, I do want to break that, so we're going to unconstrain that. And we're going to go ahead and maybe say like 40, just so we get like something that's not a complete circle in that way. And maybe we'll go a little bit bigger. Maybe we'll do like 44, and then bring this one maybe to like 36. Well, that's feeling pretty cool right there. I'm going to go ahead and constrain now because I like having it constrained personally. So we've got our little planet right here, at least like the super basic shape of it. Whenever I use clipping masks, the image disappears. Can you explain compound paths and clipping masks? Are you doing a lot of that kind of stuff?
I mean, I'll use clipping masks. Compound paths are usually... I'm going to explain that in a second.
Okay.
Because I think compound paths are going to be...
Rad. But we are going to go ahead. So we're going to group this object because it's going to be a little more helpful for us to manipulate the colors. And now I'm going to go in here, and I don't really want the darkest color on this one quite yet. So this, again, we're still pressure testing these colors. And so I've set this now using our new colors, but here's what I'm noticing. Like, while the pink, yes, feels a little bit brighter, and maybe you can see it a little bit better on the stream, it doesn't feel like the contrast is as high as the difference between our like dark purpley blue and that. So it feels like those contrasts are just a little off in that way, which is, again, why it's really nice to be able to grab this color right here. Let's say we want to manipulate kind of that pink. we're gonna select similar objects. So not only have we selected the pink that's on the planet, now we're also selecting these and changing them. We're gonna go ahead and start manipulating them just a little bit, make them a little bit brighter, just so that contrast is a little better. Okay, so we've got that for now. And now we gotta figure out, how does lighting work? Our lighting is, we're gonna do the same kind of area that it was before. So we've got like a northeast sort of quadrant up here. And this is gonna be kind of how our lighting works. This is where the sun is. And so because of that, you could do lighting where you have like a hard, you know, light on this side, dark on the other side, but 45-degree lighting can be pretty dynamic and make some pretty cool stuff out of it. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So we've got this circle, and we're gonna draw another one right here. I'll show you why. And this is gonna be a shadow. So let's grab this. And then I'm gonna duplicate this item by holding Option and pressing a cursor direction. So now I've got a duplication, and I'm just gonna start moving it over one, up one, over one, up one, over one, up one. And so this is gonna give us a little bit of lighting. So we're gonna grab this, and I'm gonna use the minus front option. So now we've kind of got this. But as I start seeing this, one thing that I'm noticing is like, wow, we've kind of got this like little space right over here sorry about that. This little space right here that I know is just it's not gonna work visually. So I'm gonna walk it back. This is all sort of what it's like. You keep trying things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think I'm just gonna move this a little bit. So I like this a little bit better. Let's see, probably about right there. So it's maybe not a perfect 45, and to me that's okay, because optics will always be like the math side of it. I love math, but sometimes you do have to make decisions for the optical side of it. So we're gonna go ahead, knock that out. And so one of the things that we see is like, okay, so now there's this hard light that's being cast, but this light should in some way be affected by like what pattern is currently on that planet. And so an easy way to do that is we can start grabbing these elements right here. And so, or wait, no, it would be the light. Well, we could do either one. You could choose all the purple or all the pink, whatever you want to do for it. We're going to do the purple because there's less of it right here, and so it's just easier to do a path on it. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this purple, put it in place again.
What key are you using to show the outline?
That is Command Y, and that's going to get us into that outline view. And then we're going to go ahead, duplicate this. So something that I anticipate is going to happen if we were to do this, just grab this element as is once you have vector lines that run along the spine here on both the purple element as well as like this dark blue element, sometimes those lines are overlaid. They are perfectly like mathematically, but like they're going to keep an artifact of all of the elements that run along it. And I've seen some folks run into this, so let's see if it does that. Yeah, it did. So what it did was it basically said, we're going to take the overlap of both of these elements, but because there's a spine on the side, it's just going to replicate all of the aliasing that runs along that side. So an easy way to get around that is just take this, just grab it with your direct selection, which is A, and just go ahead and extrude this out if you want. And you can go ahead and move those Bezier curves. And now, once we go over it,
those two,
it's going to go ahead. And it's going to keep it fine. So we've got this little area here. We're gonna have to change this to a sort of purple color, but you can start seeing. So now this is gonna be our brightest color, it's pink. Our shadow on the pink is purple, and our shadow on the purple is gonna be that dark. So we're gonna do the same with this area over here.
And you're basically duplicating shapes, layering them on right in the exact same spot. Usually
exactly.
Exactly. And then doing an intersect in this case. That's cool.
And we can go ahead, if we use outline, and grab this by clicking on the side here. We can take it, bring it to the front area, and do that. So now we've kind of got this like little planet with some lighting. Little planet right there. All right, so one thing that we can do here, we're not really sure how our kind of layout's gonna work. Is it gonna be bound in like a bunch of squares? Is it gonna be like some organic shapes? I'm not really sure yet, but this is a kind of like a fun way to like, if you're looking to make some organic shapes and you want to sort of just kind of play, when I make some of that stuff, I really like using live corners for that and just making some weird shapes. So that might just be like, you know, bring it down here and do this. And just start playing with like some funky shapes. And here's how I do it. Like you can make just whatever you want with something like that. And you can start manipulating as you go. But then you can come in here and you can just start manipulating how those corners work and making some pretty funky looking shapes with it.
So see what's happening there? Yeah, he's just manipulating the corner radius. That's cool.
Yeah,
hopefully everybody got that. Actually, do you mind just selecting that and just, that's awesome. And then just showing them the control point on the actual object.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens is once you create a shape, we just drew using the pen tool. We've created just this kind of strange looking object here. And then what we did was we selected the direct selection one, which is A. And we're gonna grab a corner right here. You can grab this and just start doing that if you'd like, or you can go ahead and double click on that and you can start doing the radius from there. Or if you go into this panel up here, you can also do it from there and just input
and click on, actually, you know, are there other shapes? Is there chamfered corners or anything else? I wonder.
What's that?
Where it takes a notch out instead, it reverses the curve. So select, so see how it says corner, oh sorry, I'll put it right here.
Oh yeah?
Click on the underline, click there. Ooh. So that's a chamfered or inverted round.
Chamfer,
chamfered
yeah, look at
is
this.
Technically, but, which I've never used those. I've always just rounded them.
yeah, I only round, but it's good to know those do exist. I kind of want to see it now. Oh, well that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, if you ever need it, it's there for you.
That's pretty cool.
Saransh, you have you want us to give you some feedback on a link? Hey, we would love to give you feedback on your avatar, quite frankly, because that's what the contest is happening right now.
All about that.
Just click on that contest tab. We're doing avatars, and we'll try to pick one and make it float in space or something.
Nice.
You know, a little window.
So the other thing that we can do now is like, all right, so we could do a background, but the more I think about the background, the more I'm like, I don't know. We still don't know like the other pieces that are going to work. So it's like we could spend all this time trying to create a layout. Or we could start figuring out, okay, what are some of the pieces that are gonna work with that? So maybe have a couple anchors, kind of think of it like a tattoo. You usually don't get like flash tats done and then figure out what your anchor pieces are on your body. You like get those big anchor pieces and then you start filling with some of the smaller flash tats. Obviously.
I have no idea what you're
common
talking
knowledge.
about.
Common knowledge.
This
All right.
is tattoo stuff.
So we're gonna go ahead and find another element. So at least we've got a couple elements on there. Let's see.
That's true. I mean, you create your bigger statement pieces.
Yeah,
right?
and then you sort of can start messing around with that. Now I think like the space stuff is really fun, but I do kind of want to make it a little more like retro and weird rather than just like a literal NASA image. So maybe we do start looking into some of this
I love
kind of
that
stuff.
guy. I mean, there's too many fun things to look at right now.
Oh yeah,
it's hilarious.
That's awesome. Oh man, this is fun. What are we making? We're just making a space image. It can be with anything on there.
Space composition and learning Illustrator at the same time.
Mission control. We got some computers over here. So what we're trying to do is I'm trying to assemble a number of different elements that we can work with. So like a mission control computer is going to be super boxy and super rigid in some of those shapes. A rocket is going to have some organic lines that kind of come out that keep it a little smoother on that. Same thing with the planet. The planet is an ellipse and it's got some wavy lines on there. So we're just kind of looking for elements that are a little different from one another that we can kind of start building from. And some of these space toys are just super rad. So I have to actually like pick something now that we want to build on it.
Yeah, it's super fun stuff.
Oh man, these cars are rad. This kind of rocket's pretty crazy. Look at that. All right, let's do something kind of like that.
Oh yeah, it's like it has like fuel tanks attached to that or something going on there.
So all we did here was we just copy and pasted, which is something you can do, which is super helpful. Go ahead and move this over here. So if we were to create something like this, I'm going to start building it in an upright position, like a straight up 90-degree sort of thing. And the reason why it doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way, but for our building purposes, that does help us inform like the sense of scale that we're working with. So we do have a sort of like visual economy that we can work with and how this kind of stuff goes, because we set it up using our actual grid system, which informs all things. All praise be to the grid. And we'll go ahead. And so if I was to do this kind of shape right here, it kind of like balloons and kind of tucks in like on that. There's a couple ways we could do it. If we want to have this as a base, let's say, you could draw those lines really rigidly, knowing that we'll go through and we'll start fixing some of them.
Somebody's knows Photoshop and is now learning Illustrator. Did you learn, say, Photoshop first?
Photoshop was first.
Then?
It was, yeah. I did Photoshop first. I didn't know there was such thing as Illustrator when I actually started my first gig. And then I was like on my day on the job, and he's like, yeah, so just go ahead. I would use Illustrator, just kind of do one of these, like, excuse me, what is Illustrator?
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That was your boss?
It was.
Yeah.
He was a great boss.
Oh,
he was
awesome.
super gracious and very, very kind and patient with teaching.
All praise be to the grid.
Oh. Church of the Grid.
Rebecca, thank you for saying that. I love it. Good to have you here, Rebecca. Let us know if you're new, if it's your first time joining us today.
Please
Would love to give you a warm virtual hug.
We're going to go ahead.
Yeah, and just make it weird.
Then we're going to go, and we're going to soften these.
Make it soft.
And while I'm clicking corners, just something, by the way, obviously I'm a stickler for numbers, so I'm holding shift down while I'm pressing up and down on that, and that gives me 10 intervals of 10, which for me
I didn't know
is very
that.
helpful. Yeah, this is how I live my life.
Hold down the shift key, and even when you click on those, okay.
See that?
Increase and decrease, we'll jump it by 10.
Yeah. So it kind of looks like a little wine bottle right now, just a very thin wine bottle, which is aight. We've got these like gas things in the middle. We've also got kind of like a sort of like rocket propulsion system at the back right here. So I'll go ahead, pull this down. And the more I'm thinking about it, I don't know. This is actually just feeling a little, not small enough. So I'm gonna go ahead, bring this in a bit more by selecting a direct selection, moving it over, making it a little thinner. There we go. That feels better. I think we had 200 on this.
It's not like you don't have just vertical grids, by the way. It looks that way.
Yeah,
It's
it
just the output
does. It
monitor.
does on the image here, doesn't it? Yeah, I guess you really can't see.
It gets a little washed out thanks just to the video output. But
sorry.
You technically,
Could you do only vertical?
Yeah.
Yeah, those grids are pretty editable. I think there probably would be a way to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think you can even set up like isometric grids and some like hexagon stuff. Like I think there is a lot of control that you can have. This is pretty default in terms of what we're using. But yeah, I'm sure that there is a grid that would suit your needs.
Welcome, Claude. It's first time joining us. Did you start yesterday? Is that what I see? Oh, actually, for the first time today from Haiti. Awesome.
Nice. Welcome.
And yeah, Rebecca's from Belize.
Go ahead.
Super cool.
So we've got our shape here, which is good. This is our base that we're going to work with. And so now let's figure out, all right, so if we've got this little element here, we might end up keeping it white just because we're not really sure of exactly where it's going to sit. The only problem if we did it white is that's the brightest color that we have to work with. So we would actually lose like a highlight, which might be really important because it's like a metallic material. And we'll kind of talk about that as we go. So one of the things we might do, let's like pick a color. Let's commit to it for now. Doesn't mean we'll keep it there. And then let's draw some of this like little fuel canister things. So we can do it separately if we want. Maybe it's like here. I'm going to soften this a little bit. Do 6. Look at that. I'm not doing an 8. And we'll bring this in just a little bit. Then we'll go ahead. I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to flip this around. Drag it on down. Oh, but it looks like there's another part of it. All right, so we're gonna go back to this, make it 2. And then go ahead.
Simone, hello.
Grab that.
Good morning.
Good morning. Maybe increase this because we could do some cool shadow in there, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we have this little element, now we know that we've got like a corner of 4, which would mean that something could cover this space right here, and it's 24 width, which is the width, and 4 high. Duplicate that, use our Pathfinder, and now we've got this little shadow. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate the element once and then duplicate it again, and I just moved it over a grid point. And then we're gonna go ahead and minus the front. And what we're setting up is like just a lighting effect right here. So our light is right here. And the reason why is, yes, we flipped it, but then again, I think we're gonna do the ship at a 45-degree angle. So the lower half is gonna be the darker one. We'll go ahead and do the same thing here. So we're just creating some lines of light. And for this, because we have a 6 border radius, we're going to go ahead and do it from there. What was it you need us to explain again? We'd be happy to.
Yeah. There were some questions. I mean, we've been talking about global swatches, which are good, so we could always show that. I wanted to show just a quick thing or two.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. So, this is how you add global swatches. So you have your swatches panel. Here's the color. I already have it added, but you just go right in here, new swatch, and then this is actually checked by default, global.
Oh, cool.
So it's all going to be linked back to this color. Okay. I have this. So that's one thing we can do, right? So I can select multiples. You know, it's going to be that color, and I can change this color, and it's going to change it everywhere. But I want to go beyond that. See how it changed it? Because this is what I want to do. I want to colorize all these randomly. I think this is just really cool because we talked about this yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And this might be good for, like, I don't know if it's a star field or any randomization you need to do. But, you know, right now they're all gray. These are my 3 colors. I have all these selected, and this is where I'd actually use a script, but I'm essentially selecting those 3 swatches, and then I can go to this script, and I can post a link in the chat, but it's random swatches fill. And then you can see there's lots of scripts that you could even write if you wanted to. Random swatches fill. I have those 3 selected. Oh, shoot, I selected the wrong one. I have one job. I just select the one thing. Random swatches fill. Hold on, I need to select these 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry about that. Jeez, what's bump. So there you go.
Ooh,
so yeah,
that's awesome.
It just
That is
distributed
really rad.
it. If I had 20 colors selected, I could do that. But since they're all connected back to this color, I can jump in and tweak that to something else if I want to, too. So anyway.
Nice. Jeffrey had a question. Yesterday you mentioned not using layering. Does that make it a little harder to hand off files for Adobe Animate? And the answer is absolutely. It's a selfish decision of my own because it's just me working on it. Yeah, your workflows will likely change depending on the nature of the project that you're working with, who's kind of doing it. I think that if you use grouping, there is a way to keep your files still pretty clean without necessarily using like the architecture of needing to do layers per se as much like that. But yeah, ultimately it's a selfish decision. I recognize that.
Can I show something else real fast?
Yeah, please.
This is like, because you were jumping out to use Google Images, which is great, by the way. I'm just opening up Creative Cloud libraries, and I can search Adobe stock in here. So I can do vintage, space. I'm searching Adobe stock. I can search on vectors specifically if I want to, or I can just say like photos, for instance. But this is just a good resource, and this is actually just right in, Illustrator as a resource. If I decide, and guess what? I could purchase it. Yeah. Or I could just sync it to my current library as it's doing right now. But that's just a quick way if you want to have like a real little reference panel.
Yeah, some of that stuff is especially interesting and really helpful if you're looking for like resources and you're doing photo manipulations and stuff. That's where I've used that before. I haven't done as much work with photo manipulation stuff. Well, not manipulation, but even using much raster-based stuff in Illustrator. But it does have some capabilities to do some pretty cool stuff if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, totally.
Red.
Hello, Brittany from Oklahoma. Good to have you here. Global color, you make the change once, it changes it everywhere that color is being used. Kendra, if you could pick us up some Chick-fil-A while you're out, that'd be great. She's heading to Chick-fil-A.
Nice. Go ahead.
It's always a good time for Chick-fil-A.
We're going to go ahead and set those behind.
That's looking really cool. I like those rockets.
Yeah.
Or whatever those, I don't know if they're like fuel canisters.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It's something hanging out there. It's pretty cool.
That's neat.
Whatever it is. So we've got like this little rocket shape. We're going to go ahead and duplicate it. And so here's where we're going to get into a little bit of, we're going to eyeball some of this lighting stuff. So you've got a shape that kind of runs down, but you need to have like some sort of lighting that it kind of plays off of. So if I was doing this, for me, everything's not always a science. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling it over I just moved it over 4 points. So right now you can see we've kind of got this little highlight area where we've got a shadow. And now what we can do if we want, I'll go ahead and make this look different so you can kind of see the difference here. We could start to decrease the width on there, because what we really want is we want this shadow that's running along the side to be a little more obvious and be a little chunkier. This is how I would do it. And you might have a totally different workflow for something like that, and it probably works for you pretty well. I think there's so many ways to do things. And then I'll go ahead and, just because I want to make sure that I'm using the same angles, I'm going to go ahead and, first off, I want to see what do we use on this one.
I think what's interesting about today is like you're using all solid colors, like no gradients. Yesterday
No gradients.
was like a gradient day.
It was.
Like
It was.
a-
We were like just drunk on gradients. We used as many gradients as we
loved it.
wanted, nonstop. Today, we're figuring out ways to create depth with limited color and to highlight like multiple objects in different planes, which is tough with single colors, obviously. And it's a lot of guesswork. It really is.
But you're still, you're still working with lighting, just in a solid color fashion.
Love me some lighting. So we could move this over if we want. Let's see.
Layla's new. Welcome, Layla. Good to have you here.
Welcome.
First time we have a contest going on. Just click on the contest tab, make an avatar. No, we don't need those blue creatures, but essentially an avatar is a digital representation of a guest or someone on the stream.
I am happy that we were able to reference little James Cameron today.
Well,
That's
if
good.
you do even a search for avatar, you don't get the actual definition. You get the movie.
Is that right?
For the first
Has it
page.
become that pervasive, really?
Yeah, like it took me a while. Like,
Interesting.
okay.
Okay, cool. So we've got this little we've got this
Welcome,
little
Thomas
shadow.
Wooster.
One of the things that I'll do for something like this, so this is where you kind of have to start making decisions for optics to say like, is it really worth having this or that? So like we've got these little areas right here that are hanging out. And to be honest, like it's just not gonna work with that little tiny space. Sometimes if you have really small spaces, it just kind of looks like a mistake. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna fill these, even though technically they wouldn't be filled. It's a secret, but sometimes when you're making art, you do manipulate what the real world looks like in a way. So we've got this little area right here, and then we need like a sort of rocket booster thruster kind of thing. This one's got, I can't really see what that is. I don't know if I really love it. It doesn't feel like obvious enough exactly how it's working. So maybe we'll go and sort of like build a little more of a like classic looking cartoony sort of like big thruster that kind of comes out, and I'll show kind of how I would do that personally. We can do, we're gonna stick to the grid there. I'm gonna go ahead.
That's a good question, Soul.
What was that question?
Talking about what's the latest trend in vector illustration.
What is the latest trend?
I think one of the trends is just even the color palette you're using. I feel like this color palette is pretty hot right now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah,
pinks
definitely.
and purples are a timeless classic.
Like even all the gradients you used yesterday were all. I mean, they might be from a warm pink to a teal or something like that, but you never used any black. You know, you never. If you do a gradation to black, it looks straight up 80s word art, like horrible. I think, but so I don't know. I think this style is pretty hot, right? These colors are hot right now.
Well, cool thing about styles, you can build your own.
I think even what Marley was making yesterday is pretty trendy.
Pretty rad.
Yeah. I know it's hard to describe, but we have Marley Gallardo here later today from 1 to 3, and before that we have Julia Zoavo as well. But we have some. I mean, you can see 4 different styles today alone. But I like always your color choices.
So we've got like this little highlight right here. That's why we did that. And maybe we just want like a little more detailing. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of like cap off that top area. Just make a little line that works right here.
I love it.
Yeah. So we kind of got this going right here. For these areas too, where we do kind of have like, it's just like this little tiny thing. I mean, I would kind of do the same thing. And sometimes like I'll just draw right over it where it's just like, yeah, I don't really want that to exist. Depending on like how you're viewing it, you might get little artifacting while you're in this view. Where it's like, you got two colors and they're next to one another. But there's like, like right here's a great example of like, there's a little artifacting that exists right there. A lot of times that won't make its way to the final. But if it's just bugging you to see, you can just as easily cover it up if you'd like and just kind of work with it like that. And we can just drag this up and there you go.
Sweet.
You won't see it. It's up to however you kind of work. Like I said, a lot of times it's not really going to make its way out of there. And this is also where I'd make the call to say, listen, this exists. It's a little tight right there. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And maybe even for a space like this, yeah, let's go ahead, make that a little flatter. And like I said, those are just kind of those like nitpicky things that you sort of have to figure out what you like with it. I don't think it's a bad situation to leave some of that stuff. You know, if you don't mind having some of that just the little spaces. I think for me, there's just like a little part of me that just always kind of, I don't dig it. I definitely don't dig it.
I mean, it's all about like simplicity for you. Like, you know.
So we got a little porthole window.
Oh yeah, a little avatar might go there. Who knows?
There it is.
So yeah, you're right. The gradient noise textures, Jasmine says, in terms of a trend, like how you might have something flat or with a gradation, but there's that noise on it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so it makes it look less like, say, vector and more obviously like a texture.
So we got a little porthole window. We'll go ahead, maybe even like give it a little sheen on here. There's a few ways we could do that, but for us, we're gonna do it this way.
Are those our highlights in the window?
Yeah, little highlights. We'll do, oh yeah, so this is a thing too. If you like are using it, you want to move something, and so you've been using your cursors to go like one over and then one up. You're like, I don't know, that's too much. I want to do 0.5. The way I do that is I press enter, and now I've got this move panel, and I can do like minus 0.5 and then minus 0.5 here. And that just kind of splits the difference for me, and I like it. I like it a little better like that.
I noticed your mouse is actually getting dusty.
Yeah, I haven't touched it in a while.
Like literally like keystrokes.
Yeah,
you move fast with it, too.
I think it's also like I do a lot of like couch designing where I'm just like I'm so used to like I can just use the trackpad. It's all right, not a big deal.
I love it.
My mouse is getting dusty. I respect that. That makes sense.
Jasmine's liking how the rocket's coming together.
I'm glad. I'm liking it too. You never really know.
Yeah.
Some things are just like an experiment. Like, okay, this is not working.
So just so you guys know, the contest today, you have a chance to win Creative Cloud for a year. So that is the contest that's happening. Currently looks like we have 3 entries, so their odds are looking really good for winning Creative Cloud.
Cool. So now we've got kind of this piece right here. Cool. Yeah, and I mean, we could probably stand to give it some legs on there, you know. You know
what also is fun with these rockets?
What's that?
Is having when you have those streams of like exhaust.
Exactly. Like, that's what I'm thinking. And what we'll do is we'll use that exhaust to create a container for imagery as we sort of like build into a composition. So we'll go ahead and draw a little wing out there.
Oh, Equipoise Designer says you're simply amazing.
That's really kind.
You're such a good guy or gal, I don't know, but like
that's really kind.
Thanks for being so honestly, like seriously, like
that is a really nice
nice people. Really nice I feel like very humbled.
We'll go ahead and draw another one here. So what we're doing on this one is like, so we've got this this wing that 2 on the side here, but we're pretending like it's a tripoded kind of wing system. So we do need to have one in the middle. That's going to be like right there. So we'll go ahead and draw that. So yeah, look at that. It's a little wing right there.
Yeah, I like it. Super cool.
I'm liking that. Okay. So now we've got our rocket. We're gonna go ahead and group all of this together just so we can make sure that we can grab it whenever we need it. And we can start playing a little bit now that we've got a few elements. And by the way, if you need to push something to the back of a group or anywhere, you can do Command Shift and then open bracket, and that pushes it all the way to the back. That's how we would do that.
Michelle Otto is also from Salt Lake City.
What up, Salt Lake City?
Yeah, you've been there, since August?
August, yeah.
Since August.
It's a great place. Beautiful place. Okay, so we've got this right here. We know that we've got like a planet that we want to work in somehow. Let's kind of start messing around a little bit with maybe what the composition looks like. So kind of like Paul had mentioned, like let's kind of do like a little trail that comes off of it. And this trail, what we're going to do with it is we're going to make like kind of like a funky sort of play into that space, hopefully over time. I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to work, but it's an idea. And I'm not sure what the trail color needs to be, but let's say it's like right here. All right. So, oh, and if you'll notice, what I did do was once I'm like pretty sure that this is what I'm going to use in the composition, I still do want a version of it that is that's on the grid so that I can manipulate it. Like maybe I'll work with this one right here, and as I'm kind of like tilting it and moving it, it's just not perfect, or I need to make a change to it. But unfortunately, like I've already kind of manipulated, so now it's not really plotted on the grid as much anymore, and maybe I use like an arbitrary rotation on it. So I always duplicate my elements before I place them in a composition, just so if I really need to like hit that reset button, I can go back and grab another version of it. I'm kind of like forking a repository and then like keeping it available to be able to use at a later time.
This is pretty typical of anybody's Illustrator file. It just is kind of messy with these references and shapes and things just kind of spread out around, you know?
Oh yeah, it's definitely mine.
So Juan Manuel is wondering how you got the color scheme. I mean, really, you just kind of...
Yeah, we actually created it today on the stream, and it really is just kind of messing with it and figuring out we need 3 colors aside from white, and we need like a lightest color, a medium color, and a darker color, and then white will be our absolute lightest. And so we just kind of started manipulating with the hue and saturation, building off of a basic purple, and just kind of created it from there. Not really sure if it was going to work at the time. And even now, at the end of the stream, this time we will make some time to go into Photoshop and manipulate some of those colors just to show how different they can look. But yeah, it was all just kind of guesswork, as most things I do are.
Yeah, it's always comforting when you see, you know, somebody working and they work similar to you. Because again, with the messy artboards, maybe doing some color correction in Photoshop, you really haven't opened up your layers panel, which
I'm so sorry if that's
just
what you came for.
It's so wild. I mean, I usually only work on a couple layers.
You know, it's all what you're comfortable with, you know? It's like whatever you find works best for you, it works best for you, and you should totally do it. So maybe we're gonna turn this to try and get like a different angle on it, and we can start kind of like figuring out, is there like a placement that we like? What I'm looking for usually if I'm messing around with a composition is I'm looking to ensure that like we're not getting any like weird little gaps like this. Like that kind of stuff for me, that's a hard no. I don't really appreciate like little things like that are like kind of close but also slightly off. So like even right now, if we were to play it a little safe, let's say we needed to give this like a bottom right here. So we've got like this thing coming off to the side. Maybe I would go in now and just start like pathfinding that out. Again, it is a destructive way to do it. You absolutely could use a mask on it and still maintain the integrity of the shapes themselves. For me, I just like being able to go to outline mode meticulously and like just know, okay, that doesn't exist like that anymore. That's just like one of those things. Oh, but see, look at this. Yeah, that's gonna be a hard no for Justin. Yeah, so we're gonna move that a little bit. And for this, because we've already kind of broken the grid, I'm not too concerned with being off of it at this stage. So let's see.
I like Steven Overturf says he doesn't like when other designers tell him how his workflow should be, which I totally respect.
Totally.
That. I'm like, you are a true designer.
Yeah,
you know, like you do what you want to do. A little bit different when you have to hand a PSD off to somebody else.
That's true. Again, there is a selfish side of me that doesn't worry about that as much. And if I was working with somebody on this project, I would try to work as a team and figure out like, how do you like the setup? Do you use you know, layers? And if so, you know, we can retroactively go back and add some layers, but because this is for Justin's gonna do what Justin likes on it.
Yeah, I like that. I just like it. It's the artist in you, man. It's good. I dig it.
I'm gonna go ahead and try to create like this kind of like radiating sort of thing and seeing if this works.
I will say, I can't pronounce your name, but really likes the look of it. Super intriguing. And it starts to have this, obviously you added a ton of motion as soon as you tilted it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people can see it animated right now.
Yeah, and that's definitely part of it is like while we're building this, you know, we want to create something that's like visually interesting. So if everything was just kind of like plotted on the grid, it kind of like, it reminds me of like, it was a while back, like Things Organized Neatly, where it's just like you take apart something and you lay it perfectly, which you can do. But the idea behind this is to create more of like a compositional arrangement where we've got like all these elements kind of exploding onto the page. We still don't know, even now, like what it's gonna look like. We still don't know how big it's gonna be. I don't know, is it gonna be a rectangle, a square? I'm not really all that interested in this stage because, you know, it's a little bit more of a personal exploration. We're also gonna add some clouds on here because like imagine if this thing just took off from the ground. And also this is gonna give us a really fun way to start adding some fun depth to it. So go ahead and start doing that.
Yeah, Jay, so there's a little known feature, the draw behind. I don't know if you've used draw
I
behind.
have, but usually by accident. Like it's like, oh wait, I have that selected. I love to draw in front. That's kind of my jam on there.
And that's basically on that layer, everything, you're pushing things forward and back, and that's draw behind will just draw on a sub layer behind everything else. A clipping mask will put everything within that clipping mask group. So that's kind of the difference.
We'll go ahead and add some clouds.
Oh yeah, we'll give away a poster here in 5 minutes. Does it sound good?
Yeah.
These will be just some of the prints. Yeah, maybe we could show those if you don't mind. We'll do this
Absolutely.
in 5 minutes. We'll give away some handy prints, although I love your rocket and what you're
Thanks.
making now as a print. So dope.
Thanks.
We'll talk about that later, because for these vector streams, these are some great resources.
Yeah, these are
we
pretty
might
fun.
have to hit you up for some new posts. But basically we have Robzilla, Jing
Yeah.
Wei in the middle, Christine Heron, art prints 5 minutes. All you have to do is stay online and, you know, just tell Justin how much you like his glasses.
Or just tell me about yourself.
Yeah, let us know about you.
This is about community. You know, we're here. Y'all are out and like watching a design stream. You could be doing so many other things today. And look at all these people around you. We're united by that.
Yeah.
That's rad.
And by the way, those 3 posters were created on the stream, by the way, just like we're
that's
doing
awesome.
today. But I dig that. Everybody could totally see this as a print. Which, oh yeah, speaking of prints, we're going to do a shout out to you. I know you're like, tell us about yourself.
Tell
sure, we'd
us
love to
about
hear
you.
you.
I would like
but
to know
Super
more
Team
about
Deluxe, you know, again, I think it's fun that you have this just available to kind
It's
of
our
just
way
like,
to have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, just messing around. But this is superteamdeluxe.com. Just various pins, and people could see your stuff as a print. And sure enough, it is in pin form and other forms. Ooh, Party Soft.
Yeah. I appreciate
As you get older, I want to party, but only till
Yeah.
10, 11 p.m.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Dude, I love it.
That was kind of like, so it's myself and my buddy Raji and I just kind of wanted an outlet. Like we work on the internet, you know, we make digital products. And so we really were interested in like, what would it be like to just like make something you can hold in your hand? That's just something that you kind of lose in some ways
Yeah.
if you work so much in the other way. So
I love it.
It's been really fun.
Super. What's your friend's name? Sorry. who's this?
Raji King.
Raji King.
Yeah.
Shout out to Raji King.
He's a good one. He's a keeper, that one. Cool, so if you can tell right here, we just created this like little clouds that are kind of like coming off and puffs of smoke as it kind of comes out there. So this is a fun one. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, Justin, we'll have to talk about like what you're willing to share. I mean, somebody wants prints of your work. First of all, that's why I wanted to point them to your pins. Somebody already has bought one of your pins, which is awesome.
Very kind, very
And we'll have
rad.
to talk about that. Like, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah. For this,
All I know is this is super dope, and I want to hold on to it. Like I want,
I'm glad.
it.
I'm really glad. This is a super fun one. I mean, and to be honest, like, you know, it's just fun hanging out and talking about like what works and what doesn't. And I think like one of my favorite things about design is like I have never gotten to the point where I stop making like mistakes in something and be like, wow, this looks awful. Like I think that's like a misconception, is that like you get to a point with design, not that I would be there, where it's like you're just such a tastemaker that you just make only amazing work all the time, and it's never like you never doubt whether or not it's good. I feel like I'm constantly like, this is just not working. Like the artistry is just not kicking in right now. And so yeah, I'd say like if you're somebody who's just kind of like starting out in this kind of world, like, you know, get used to the slog. It's fun in some ways. You kind of learn to appreciate not knowing and like figuring that out as you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's perfect every time, you're not really learning anything new.
Yeah, take some risks out there and get funky and try a style and realize this is His is not gonna work. And that's okay. That's super rad. Yeah, that just feels spacey, like getting something a little more orbity. There's really no reason a Jupiter-like planet would have that. But at the same time, it does feel spacey, so that's totally what we're gonna do. Right on. All right, so let's do something now. That one, okay, so this is where I start making decisions about elements that I'm doing. Right now we've got a couple elements. We've got a planet. That planet's, you know, just a circly orb. It's got some organic lines. We've also got the rocket that we made, and that rocket is like very lean. It's got an organic line, but like now I'm getting to the point where it's like, now I'd like to think about something that's like a little like beefier and substantial and feels a little boxier, just so we have like all of these different elements in that area. There's a couple things I'm thinking about we could do. We could do like one of those, yeah, like one of these old school NASA computers that are like the at mission control, and they're just big and chunky and fun to like mess around with because we could do something fun on the screen. So that will be a fun one that we could do. We could also do like, you know, a star map, which would be like a piece of paper and it's kind of like folded over. And so like all of these elements are things that we can kind of start messing around with. I feel like just on the baseline here, because we're using the bottom of it, maybe we will kind of mess with like one of these little computers and just kind of see how it works. Yeah. Let's see. I do want the old ones, like these old chunky ones.
Yeah, if you're interested in Justin's work, there's the info tab that kind of talks all about you. And then there's also, you can follow him on Instagram, which is Justin Mezzell minus all the vowels, right? Is that
no.
Oh, no,
it's
is that
just
wrong?
my name. Yeah, it's actually
it's just your name. Okay.
I just did
Justin
that on
Mezzell.
Twitter a little bit.
Oh, I see. So you changed, I got it. So
I only did it on Twitter because we increased character counts on Twitter, and so everybody had super long names. I just decided I'm gonna have a super short name. All right, we're making a little computer. So let's see. I don't exactly know how we're gonna do it, as I often don't with pretty much everything we do. But we know there's gonna be some border around this computer. And we're gonna extrude it a little bit. I love the fact that like it's like this old tube television looking stuff. Like that's awesome. We want that for sure. So we're gonna do like a little screen here. And obviously we're gonna round these corners, something fierce.
Just to answer somebody's question, I mean, there's Adobe forums where you can post if you have an error, if some file could not be written. I mean, we obviously can't troubleshoot that today, but if it's a specific file, maybe there's embedded color profiles that aren't translating well, or it could be a bitmap that's maybe not being. I would almost start to take out elements and see if you get that error. But Adobe forums can be linked directly from the Illustrator menu, the help menu up at the top. Just so you know. Cool.
I'm not gonna worry about that yet.
Oh yeah, let's do some giveaway hype.
Heck yeah, giveaway.
So just be active in chat, and I would love to hear from you. Just say, hey, what's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Following you on Instagram. Hello from Brazil.
You also don't need to follow me on Instagram to get the prize.
Yeah.
You just be here.
No.
Just hang out.
I just kind of read a tweet or a message.
Oh, right on.
But say hi from Florida, wherever you're
Florida.
from. Great colors, great rocket. Giveaway hype. This is for the 3 prints. There we go.
Yeah.
Nice planet, bro.
That's good. Hey.
Nice planet, bro. I love it. Super duper. Super team. You guys are the super team.
That's right.
Nebraska, Vegas in the house. Thomas, shout out to him. His first time here with us today.
Welcome.
Hello from New York. Good to have you here. Justin is the space trooper.
Oh, that's so kind. I did really want to be an astronaut.
Yeah, did you?
I don't think I have the IQ for that, to be honest.
I don't know. You got the math skills.
I've come to reckon with it. Like it's just part of me.
You got the maths down.
I mean, I do love math, but I don't think that was enough to take me into space, unfortunately.
You're like, I'm good with math and I'm good at picking colors.
Yeah,
Does that get me in?
I ended in the career I needed to end in, so it all worked out.
MJ Ware, welcome. It's your first time as well. Good to hear. And you are entered in the potential drawing for 3 fantastic prints that were made on Adobe Live. So the Adobe Live team, it's 43 individuals, all named Gus. It's the GusBot 2000. And looks like it's Simone Bose.
Hey-o.
Simone Bose. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Sumonbose. You win these 3 fantastic prints. Just
awesome.
let us know that you're still out with us and you heard your name, Simone Bose. Boom.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Yeah, Simone, really. Oh, I love your little avatar. Look at right there.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
cute. I like a little dude. I like it. Well played. We'll just hit you up on Behance. Sorry if you didn't. If you're really looking forward to the print, you didn't win it. It's all right. You can win Creative Cloud potentially for a year. Just select the contest tab, and create an avatar of Justin or anyone on the stream today. And that's. What are the odds we get one host as an avatar that's blue today?
Oh, I hope. Yeah, if you can create an avatar that is an avatar, oh, I gotta be honest, that's pretty great.
And you get to pick too. So.
I mean, you already gave me the idea. Unfortunately, it would be great if it was unsolicited. We just got one that was like that, but no, it's fine now.
Let's see where we're at with those. Whoa! I wasn't expecting.
We're getting
that.
some in. We're getting.
We
some
had
in.
3 20 minutes ago or so.
Oh,
now we're
awesome.
up to probably about 15. I better get to work. Oh, geez. This is going to be comical. This is going to be so comical today. I'll tell you already. This is too much. Help us all.
I just look over your shoulder. There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot. Let me just get these logged
There's
and
a lot going on.
categorized. Thank you. Oh, that's Michael's. Are you messing with me? I swear you get messed with. Thank you, Helen Ragozina. Miriam, got your entry in. Thank you. Jeffrey, thank you. That's looking good. Rodney Halquist, I like it. Again, just use Illustrator. Send it through any way you want. You can do Dropbox, you can do Creative Cloud, files. Jonas, yours is looking fantastic.
Nice.
This is gonna be fun. I think I'll start showing these right. Give me
Absolutely.
one second, and we'll go through the first round as soon as I load up Armando's. All right, yeah, let's. Well, that's that's
So
Michael Shays is messing with me. He's like a very realistic Paul Tranny.
It's exceptional. I'll give it that.
My eyes are just like that. It's like, yeah, I too. If I drank all the coffees I brought in. Okay, so a little. What do you call that? Triangulation. Which there's an app that actually does that. But thank you so much, Helen. That's cool. You could actually still recognize that it's me, so that's cool. Creative Cloud
awesome.
Cat, because we have the cat song,
That's
which is
pretty
the most
awesome.
popular track, quite frankly, and it's super cute.
I don't think I know the cat song.
We don't quite hear it, but that's very good. Oh yeah, Polyart. Thank you, Sisse.
No, this is really rad.
There we go. This
Hey,
should be.
look at that! They got my shirt.
Jeffrey's.
Nice.
Oh,
I love it.
dope.
I love it.
Very cool. That should be from Jeffrey Fulgencio. This is cool too.
Nice. I like the geometry. I'm liking it.
Very cool. That's from Rodney Jonas Forte.
That's dope.
This is really cool, right?
So good. I just want to, that's me.
That's you. Man, this is so nice. Oh, that's
That's
super
so
fun.
good. Hey, those colors. Speaking my language there. I love it.
Super
They know I'm a
fun.
sucker for it. They know it.
They do. That was Armando Mellows. So
that's
thank you
cool.
so much. That's the first round. I'll load up some more and we'll review those. But
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah.
Super cool. Oh, yeah. We're back at space. Hey. Welcome if you're just joining us in space. We're in the final frontier.
Is everyone on here super talented? Lori asks. I think so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, we have all the range. By the way, we just want you guys just to create stuff. So, again, some of these aren't complex at all. Like, we just appreciate every submission. So, don't get discouraged by at all. That's not the point of this, is we're trying to inspire you.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, like anything else, it's just, you get in the process of creating, some things get faster for you, some things, are tougher to do, but like there's varying degrees of like what you learn to do. I mean, using a program over and over again will build that muscle memory. It will build you, knowing how to do something quickly. And then like really where you win the battles is your concepts. It's like how you think about approaching things, how you change those sorts of things. So get comfortable with the programs. That's like, knowing is half the battle, as they say. And so even for me, like I'd say, like just experimenting with things is the only way to improve craft. It's like trying it and figuring out it doesn't work and figuring out you made a terrible piece of art that you're not pleased with. But then that contributes later to something that you're able to build at a later time that really can do something great.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big problem kind of with like even social media, I think, is like, that's actually why I like Snapchat, is it's just a moment in time and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
But like Instagram can be really daunting.
Yeah,
Like, really?
sure.
I gotta put on a polished piece and hopefully I get a lot of likes on it. So
Let's see if we can get a cool helmet. I realized I typed space helmet and like astronaut helmet, but that felt a little more general. And so we're just gonna go with that route. Get one from like a
and we
pure
can
profile.
always grab an avatar and drop them in as like
so true. This is gonna be where y'all can work with stuff in there.
And I'll show you how to. I can share a CC library with you. I'll show you how that works.
Oh, cool.
'Cause that way I could just transfer the item directly to you.
That's rad.
So
That would be very helpful.
can I show this real fast?
Absolutely.
Do you mind?
No, please do. Please. Oh,
Stephen,
gosh, it's so
Stephen
good.
Wayne Piercy.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
Look at that hair. I love it. Look at that depth.
Yeah, that's so good. Oh man. I'm trying not to decide that it's so good just because it's me on there, but I really love that interpretation of me as a human. It feels true to form.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really
There
does.
might be a couple more real fast. So we have Deanna Sheehan's.
Nice.
I love the texture.
Yeah, that's
Totally
fun.
Good. Super duper.
Cosmic.
Yeah, so I think that's it. Then we have Armando's was earlier. So those are the latest ones, these two.
We're
Yeah,
having
wow.
fun. You're having fun. We're having fun. This is what it's all about.
Wow.
We're really glad to be here. Okay. This one's kind of an interesting one that I feel like we could mess with. So a lot of times when I'm seeing these kinds of things,
Yeah.
and we're like plotting on a grid system, so like I don't always have like a very applicational decision on like how this is going to be handled. So for example, like this right here, just kind of like how bulbous it is and like the way it's going to work. I'm not like completely sure how it's going to translate on the grid right here. I know that it's going to be a little tricky because we've got some things that are going to break it in some way, or like there's not like a really obvious way to make some of that work. So part of it does come from like artistic interpretation of it, where you're sort of like, yeah, this is the only way I can render it for now. So that's what we're gonna go with. But really, I think the biggest thing is just draw the first line. Once you kind of draw that first line, like there's really no going back. You just kind of work with it from there. I would definitely encourage that. We know that there's gonna be like a central point right here that the visor is gonna hit. So I'll go ahead and do that. Again, I don't know that these will be the colors that we'll use for it. All I know is like, we'll kind of experiment with it and see how it's looking. I'm also pretty sure that like that visor is going to come out a little bit. So that means that it's probably going to be like maybe right about there. And I know right now it doesn't exactly look like we know what we're doing. And the reason why is because we don't. It's very simply that. So.
I like that you weren't really like the art kid in school.
No,
Like,
I wasn't.
it's fascinating.
Yeah, and even like getting into illustration, like the thing that always kind of interested me about it was more like the system side of it. You know, it's like, how do you build a system that scales, that has rules, that kind of like alter kind of how it works? Because ultimately when you're doing illustrations, like you're creating a little universe, a universe that's like your own rules. You can do what you want with it. And so I think that part has interested me more than most other things, because there are rules that like your universe can follow, where it's like, you know, maybe there are no hard lines and it's only soft lines, or maybe like, you know, there's only 2 colors instead of every color under the sun. Like it's those little pieces that I think are super fun. I really, really like that.
No, and I feel like you're pretty deliberate in your design, and you know, you're not just, I mean, you're making decisions based on lighting, and then also like artistically, like you're simplifying things, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Like everything is very methodical. It's kind of how I feel like you approach it.
I do like a good method there.
Yeah, if you're working away, I can show a couple more.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, let's switch to my screen. Make this a little larger. There we go. This is super fun. By Ryan.
Nice.
Too soon, Ryan?
I do like the inclusion, I will say, of like my little like butt chin on some of those. Like it feels right.
Yeah, it feels right.
It's an aberration. I'm sorry.
Nice shadow with the glasses. So
I'm adorable. I'm like a me.
I'm not sure if this one counts. I actually don't know who this is. Rory, I know you submitted this.
I think it's me. No?
Well, I don't know, because, you know, it could be Marley, because she had the cool glasses on. It could be, yeah, I don't know. But just like, that's a little tricky one, but wanted to show it anyways. This should be
that's like my old, that's like my old avatar.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, from like ones that I haven't changed. Ones that I haven't changed. I love that.
Looks like we have Lisa's. Lisa, did you do a couple? Look at this. That's nice. Put you in a circle.
I do love the backgrounds there too. Those are nice.
Yeah, good job. Then we have
nice. I do like. Oh, look at the hair. The hair's super rad. So it's a stubble. I'm liking it.
Good job.
I'll dig it.
I like that it's black and white too.
I do too.
And they did a little planet in the background, just like
it's
you
space.
made.
It's space. I love space.
You're killing me.
That's awesome.
That should have been Gerenges. And then we have, who made this one? I'll have to double check. Actually, I don't even know what this is. This is a blue character. But either way, I should really vet these before I show them on screen. That one got by me.
I love that happened.
So nonetheless,
what a treat! What a treat for the senses.
I was too busy looking for the name to realize it wasn't even.
Well,
it's a blue cat. We had the cat song, so maybe.
Not much more you can ask for besides that. We're just making our helmet here.
Yeah, this will be interesting, because as soon as you said helmet, I immediately think of like reflection and gradients, and that's why I'm wondering like how, because you don't want to. It's almost too late to introduce gradients.
Yes, it's that ship has sailed. We're out of that. We're out of that one for sure.
Took off.
Yeah,
so.
We definitely do not have any available. Now we've done some work on the glass, like obviously with on our ship right here. So it's like, you know, we've got this little like kind of like reflection point where you can sort of see some of that stuff. So we do have some, but it's always interesting to see like how we handle surfaces when you're doing limited colors.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, obviously you want to make that look pretty spherical. Depending on where you put it will determine what's like reflected in it, if anything is actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, it's probably too small to reflect anything. So we'll remove that.
Let's see for
That's adorable.
Yeah, I'm feeling
Miriam that. Just like that's just adorable.
It's just great.
Yeah. We have some pretty cool avatars. And yeah, so we'll end this in say about like 8 to 10 minutes. The avatar, at least for this first half. Next up, we have Julia Zoavo, who's wandering in. Kathleen just wandered in. What's up, Kathleen? Kathleen, this is really fun, these avatars that are coming through.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
It's like super fun to check them out. So, man, fantastic, this hair.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. So we're just getting some sheens on this little area right here. I think we will change this to be like a lighter metal rather than, and we'll make the material a little darker. We'll move these over. And for something like this, if you feel like this is kind of sticking out, what I would do is soften it a bit, offset path, maybe give it like, let's see how 8 does. Yeah, that'd probably work. And then if you really just kind of wanted to knock it out and make sure that it only fills the space that it's in, you can go ahead and do this. And then if you want, unite it here. Push it on back. And wait, we did something funny here. Why is that concentric? Oh, sorry, a lot of Command Z's.
Yeah, those are
you get real used to Command Z in this realm.
Yeah, so you can see the shortcut keys he's using in the lower left.
For some reason.
And yeah, we're using some reference photos, by the way, so we just kind of pulled those from Google Images, but also you can use Adobe Stock, just using their CC library panel.
That just felt
I don't know, I'm
weird.
watching some of this and I'm like, to me, like, I would have stopped 30 minutes ago because I'd be worried about screwing something up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's so good, stop. But
Yeah,
now
I
this
mean,
helmet
we,
is like also my favorite part now too.
And we screw up a lot, you know? It's like,
I
it's
love
like
that.
you make
I
things.
love how you rounded that.
Thanks, yeah. Yeah, some of those things I just feel like are a little fun to do. Like, it's like if something is extending, like
Yes.
slight rounding just kind of helps right there.
Yep.
And for like this top part, I probably round it a bit more where it's like, you know, it could be a little softer down there. Same thing down here, you know, it's like this is really sharp, so we'll go ahead and soften that out.
Just feels better. So yeah, Pathfinder window, just go to Windows, from your Windows menu. From your window menu, you'll be able to pull up Pathfinder. And then if you see any additional options in any of these panels, if you go to the flyout menu, select more options, and that's how you get those additional.
So I know
Yes,
you were
Stephen
asking about
Piercy,
that.
good call. I like the restricted color palette as well.
Yeah, restricted color's fun. It's just like a fun thing to like challenge yourself with. Like, it would have been a little harder to do. Sorry, I had to count my head. It would have been a little harder to do like 3 color. Like, you know, it's like limbo. Like, go as low as you can go and see like what you can build out of it, because it does start to create some really interesting things.
Yeah, that's how it works.
For this, I'm just using this as a waypoint.
Yeah, so how did you just create the shadow by repeating the shape?
Which one was? Oh, this one right here. Probably.
I think you do it the same for most of them because it's duplicating on top of.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that again, just so we can kind of get that. So what I did was I grabbed the shape, I duplicated it by holding Option and moving. So now I've got it. I laid it right over top of it again, and then I made another one, moved it over. I moved it over again, and then, you know, maybe I'll walk it up a bit, like right here. And then now I've got 2 of these selected. I just grab this right here on the minus front, and now I'm just left with that shape behind it. And then we just drop it, and there we go. I actually like that one better. I think that was a better shadow than my last one. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, that's good.
It was really helpful.
Duplicating, offsetting the top one, and then doing a minus front. Oh, this is fun too. Oh man, so many cool ones. Where did I?
And we're just creating like a little highlight on this.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I just saw and it was awesome. I just saw and it was awesome. And because we are running out of time on this one, we'll go ahead and just see if we can. See, now here's where we get to the interesting stuff where it's just like, oh, right, like that one doesn't quite work in that way. And so maybe we'll have to split the difference with something over there. And that also means that we're probably gonna want something a little more dynamic for like how this works, which is okay. Like we've got this kind of cloud motif, so we could always do something with that for now.
You guys are killing me. We got so many more entries in.
I like hearing that.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have to close down the. So basically, if we don't review yours now, we will get to them the next hour. But I've got to try to get through all of your avatars.
Yeah,
we just got through.
I would love that.
We just got like 10 more in. So.
Selfishly, that's what I'm asking for.
So many good ones.
We'll go ahead and make a little star here. And these right now we're just going to kind of sprinkle some odds and ends in places like that. So we'll go soften it up a bit. And maybe the middle too, just a little bit.
You're at a stopping point. I want to jump in there and show.
Let's do it.
Oops. Oh shoot! This is not got connected. Okay, good. All right. Let's go. Let's take a look at some of these now. So essentially, we have Julia Sams. Here you are. Just having a nice cup of coffee.
That's awesome.
Staring out at the world that
I love
you will
it.
soon conquer.
I love it.
But only after coffee. Karina Lopez.
I like this one though because I look like a villain, which is actually like a comic book villain. That's all I've wanted. I look sniveling, and that makes me happy.
And great. I like the helmet too. Like obvious, like, and it looks
good.
You can
Light
recognize
reflections. Yeah, some fun stuff.
You're like, I didn't want to go in the spaceship. That's what it looks like to me.
No, thank you.
Jim DeRocker. There you are.
I see a Paul.
Oh yeah, that's me.
That's a Paul, all right.
All right, fantastic. Next up we have Tina Burt.
Nice, nice.
I don't know. I didn't know if I wanted to go in here or not.
I look indifferent to space, to be totally honest with you, in this image, which it's not quite true, but I am glad there's an artistic representation of me and my complete indifference to space. It's like, I don't know. It's fine out here. It's all right.
Chandler, who won yesterday, we're going to show his...
Oh, nice.
Different.
Nice.
Like
you even gave the slice through my eyebrow. I don't cut that. I actually... Yeah, I have like a scar. I have a scar there.
Ooh, good.
Yeah.
Good
wow.
eye. Good
That's
eye.
impressive.
Chandler.
Well done.
Let's make sure I think we got all these. I think we reviewed Tina's. That's it for now. I'll show a couple more and get these narrowed down.
Awesome.
In a second.
Oh, we're back. Hey, welcome.
And we're back.
Yeah, and we'll just get some little stars here and there. And we'll make some smaller ones. All right, look at these little guys.
So we're closing the entries for now. And
this is the kind of situation where it's like we have all of these elements now, and you know, if we were done with this specific piece, this is like usually the time that you can start figuring out, like, was there, at least now I would do, is like, how are the colors? Did they work? Where didn't they work? Are there things that I need to do to kind of change that? Usually in the composition too, it's where I'll start changing things like this hard edge right here. Maybe it's like not all that compelling to me, but maybe this jutting out like just a bit more to create a little stepping right there. And then I'll also start peppering. All right, well, this one feels a little big and blocky. So maybe this needs like, even though it doesn't exist in the real image, maybe like some sort of speaker system over there. You know, it's like you kind of improvise and just start like creating your own solutions on this stuff, really just as a slave to the optics to really start figuring out like maybe it needs something a little more like this.
Oh, we can view a couple more. Rebecca Guerrero's of you.
All praise be to the grid. That's amazing.
Switch my screen and just show hers real fast.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Rebecca Guerrero. All praise be to the grid.
That's true.
About an hour ago.
Yeah. I feel it. I feel it in a very intense way. That's awesome.
Very cool. Then we have, this should be Sean Parsons. I like the shadow. I like how you have the two-tone on the face. Totally cool.
Yeah, I'm digging that. The butt chin. Nice.
Let's make sure I kind of already reviewed that. This is from...
Oh, that's rad.
Arunima. A little sketch.
Yeah.
Somewhat avatar. Cool.
I like it.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah. So what we're going to do in this... obviously, like we're gonna run out of time for today's session. So one of the things that I want to talk about real fast is like, how do we manipulate colors once we have them at least like pretty close to where we want them? This is how I would do it. So what we would do for me, I would bring it into Photoshop, and let's just say I want to like, I don't know, let's do 200% just to kind of try and keep everything all nice and good. Usually I do check for like any strange aliasing. We've got a little bit there. There's an easy way to clean it up. If we just go into Illustrator and start moving some of those little Beziers just a bit. We've also got some right there as well. Those are kind of things you can take care of in Photoshop, but you know, you can also, if you're feeling a little bit lazy and like you've done enough work already, you can just go ahead and do it over here too. If you just want to like clean it up a bit, get rid of some of those things. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to work on how we do color in something like this. So what I do is I'll go down here to this little plane right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably behind us. Wait, oh, Paul told me. Wait, oh, wrong one. Control. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, down here. Are you not getting that?
Yeah, they should see it. That's awesome.
Is it behind us though?
What are you looking for?
This little guy. Create new filler adjustment. It's a little behind us. Oh, there you go. And what this is right here is this is going to allow us to add some little adjustment layers over top. And so a good way to do for me whenever I'm starting off kind of doing it, levels and curves are some really fun ways to do it. So let's kind of take a look at how levels work here. Now, none of these answers, as much as I like science, will be scientific. I can tell you color does this, and that's about all I know. So what we're going to do is in our properties panel, we've got this RGB, and those are kind of separated out if we want to start using them that way. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab the red. And we have this slider down here, and you can see it's kind of like a dark to a light. That's what the slider does. As we start increasing this red slider, you can see that now our image is absorbing some of that kind of red color there. And the reason why this is really helpful for us is now we can kind of start manipulating how that color does. So when we do something like this, red kind of gives this like sepia tone. It feels a little more vintage. It feels kind of old. And so what we're really doing at this point is on the lower side, we're manipulating the shadows and infusing them with the color that's in our RGB channel. So right now we're saying the shadows on this image, we're gonna add some red into it. Up here are the highlights that we've got. So the things that are white, we're gonna give the opposite of red, which is a blue on that. And so as you can tell, this is like affecting the entire image when we do something like that, but it also manipulates the pure whites, just as a heads up. So if you were trying to keep it all on white, the moment you start toggling that, you are gonna change that color a little bit. And you can do the same with all the other channels as well. Here's the green channel. You can see if we go there.
And right now it's just kind of playing with it for a little bit, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I really like blue. I think blue is super fun to mess around with. And then I kind of like a little yellow tint on there. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's interesting because you get used to working with that limited color palette. Then when you change it to something, you're kind of excited by the newness of this
Oh, for
other
sure.
color.
Yeah. That's where you're like really experimenting. Like, okay, yeah, I've seen this. Like, now what can I do to kind of like start changing this stuff?
You might end up back with the exact same color too, which is always a good sign, because I think when you arrive where you began, you're like, yeah, I was right the first time.
And for this one, we're going to go into the curves now. We're going to add a curves layer. Now, curves is pretty funky. I really dig it. If we select the red channel, so think of this as like a map of all the elements that are on there. So it's like if this is the dark, all the way up top here is the light. There's a curve that we can mess with. As we increase the red, we're doing a similar thing that we did with our levels, although it's not going to affect pure blacks or pure whites, so we don't really have to worry about that kind of stuff happening. But if we take away some of that red, you can kind of see how that starts manipulating some of the image right here. And if we were to add it in the highlights, you can see how it's kind of brightening that up a bit. Oh, yeah. If you're a little concerned and you haven't really messed with these before, when you select a channel, a safer route to do it is if you click right in the middle right here, you're able to keep it a little safer so that it's not going to make as drastic a changes on some of these. And this is where I'll kind of start messing around and figuring out some interesting ways to do this stuff.
Quick question for you. Is this don't show my screen, but is this your
Yes.
email linked to your Creative Cloud account?
That's the one.
Okay, cool.
And as you can tell, like, it really changes the colors depending on what we want to do with it, which is why I'm not as concerned when I'm working in Illustrator about final colors on some of that stuff. Like, knowing I can manipulate them and soothe them at some point, like, that's just, it's a really nice tool to be able to use at some point. And it also, I'm not too concerned at that point. Now, if you ever want to isolate a specific color, you can always go down to selective color down here. And then you've got these channels that exist. So it's like your reds, your yellows, your greens, cyans, blues, magentas, white, neutral, and black as well. Like if I were to select the neutrals, and then I have all of these inputs on the CMYK side of things. So like I can increase the cyan in it, or I can decrease the magenta. Or if I just want it to be darker, I can increase the blacks. And you can see kind of how that affects some of these things. What was it? Alt-click between the adjustment layer you want to change and tweak. PS, not open, forget the term. Okay. Yeah, I could see, there's like very specific handling of these curves too. So it's like, there's like even finer details of like how you can like make them come out at the same time. Like there's a whole bunch of controls that these give you. I would really just say the only way to really get comfortable with them is just to try them. Set up an image in Illustrator, bring it on into Photoshop, and just start messing around with some of these things. Because I think the results that you get and some of the just some of the colors you're able to kind of build are not palettes you would like intrinsically think of in the beginning, and they like kind of form some really weird ones. I know that like that's how I get some funky palettes. I mean, you can do too is like you can grab them, group them together, and you're like, well, I kind of want some of the original, drop down the opacity. You can keep layering more and more over top, like you're not confined to only those. So maybe you're like, I want another crack at this, and start changing it again and figuring out how that color works. This is also something that you can do. Back when we set up our original color test, we built this thing right here. And this is also something you can do if you want to have a little more final colors ahead of time. You could just drag these and, oh wait, we need a visible layer. Drop them in and do the same kind of thing here. Where you start manipulating. This is what we've done to the colors. It really is sort of up to you.
That is fun. Sorry, I had my head down, but I'd like to show some of the avatar entries. We have quite a few. And just so you know, while I'm doing this, I did send you an invite to a Creative Cloud library. So go to that invite.
Nice.
And accept. So that'll pop up some of these entries that you could maybe place like right there or something. So where it will appear is in here. Yeah, libraries.
Libraries.
All right, so let's kind of go through some of these. All right, we have,
Where do I
do the drop down from my library.
My library?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
There. And we could show this, by the
there we
way.
are.
We'll show the screen.
There we are.
So I've dropped a couple in here, but
Yeah, look at
essentially I
that.
shared this I pulled some down from the entries. Hopefully that was okay. But we have 4 in there, and you now have access to them. So I've shared that library. You can use them now in your artwork.
Okay.
Yeah, so it drops it in
Okay.
as a smart
Oh, that's
object.
awesome.
And
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
So what kind of file are these that they're coming in as right now?
they're just going to be like bitmap, actually
Okay.
ping files specifically. So,
Awesome.
But you could always like crop it and do whatever
Can I
you
just
want with it.
be? Yeah, I want to be the planet. Is
Yeah,
what
you
I
could have
really
fun
wanna
with
be.
that one. That was actually compliments of. That's from. I'll have to check. Too many entries. I'll have to see who that came from specifically. But yeah, play with that.
I just want to be the planet now.
I do want to show off these ones though. So here we have Eric Martin Vetema, which is really cool. This is a dope poster.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's awesome.
Dope poster. Super cool. Katharina.
So cool. Oh, I love the simple shapes. That's awesome. Like even like the lighting on like the domes of the head, like the temples, the way it comes down. That's super cool.
Yeah, that's way cool. We have this avatar from
Nice.
Shavanash.
Nice. I like it's like layering paper cut. That's rad.
Little,
dig that.
Get your tattoo.
Yeah.
Squiggly tattoo
I like
in
it.
there.
The abstract version of it.
Yuri's.
I love shortcuts.
Takashima?
I do. I get that
So
as a tattoo.
true. I like that too.
Yeah.
Very simple and nice. Daniello. This should be Daniello's.
Oh,
That's cool. That actually would work in the design too.
Yeah. Is that Paul? It looks like Paul.
Oh, it might be. Oh yeah, I guess.
Paul.
Yeah. Awesome hair. That's me, I think.
Your eyes look like you were ready to go.
I'm like, I've had too much
Yes.
coffee. Let's do this.
I love it. That's rad. Nice.
That might be me as well.
That's a Paul. That's a Paul, right?
Felicia. Oh, cool. Very cool. Good job on the hair, actually, there.
Yeah.
And yes, they do cut in the parts.
It's true to form.
All right, here we both are.
Wow, that's awesome.
Compliments of, is this Jeffries? Yep.
Yeah, it is.
That's cool too. Full body. Avatars. Fantastic.
Ooh, look
Michelle
at that.
Price.
I've gone like pop art in this one. I dig it.
These
Yeah,
are-
that's
this
awesome.
one and the first one I shown are like posters of you.
Yeah, exactly. That texturing is super fun.
Oh yeah, this is super cool. Nicola. I love that font. It
Oh, that's so cool.
mad props.
Yeah,
Color
that's
choice.
really fun.
You almost look like a coffee cup there.
I'm all right with that.
You could be like
Yeah,
a
if there's
latte.
anything I would embody, it would be a coffee cup. So I really appreciate that. I feel like that honors me. I'd like to work destructive.
Rodrigo. I like
I do. You're right. Oh, that's amazing.
killing me.
That's so cool. I love the glass. Wait, can we zoom in on the glasses?
Yeah.
Those are dope.
Shiny.
That's awesome.
That's like from day one, sort of
love it.
reflectiveness. And then that one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, back to villain, Justin.
quite a few. I probably didn't get to all of them. But we only have 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so-
I do. Do I have to make the decision again? Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been narrowing it down.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Can we get the narrowed down grouping
Yeah,
of them?
I'm kind
Perfect.
of working on it
Perfect.
now.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, this is what we built. This is what we built for now, which is super fun. And if we go back and we look, everything is like, it's all plotted on a grid system, pretty much. We broke it a couple times. We did like a 45-degree angle on this one, which doesn't exactly follow on it, but most of these elements do follow our grid system. And they're super fun and they're just basic geometry. So it's like, Illustrator is one of those things where it's like the tools like, you don't have to know everything. Like, if you know how to draw a square or a rectangle and a circle, you can make my art. Like, you can totally make it, and there's no secrets there. So I think that's what I dig about it. So get used to it, get weird with it, like try out some like bizarre experiments with like how to reimagine shapes in a different way, and then also like get into Photoshop every now and then. If you haven't used it before, like get funky, create some like bizarre color palettes. It's some cool stuff. And a tip too is like, if you're in this area and you've done some stuff with adjustment layers, you can actually go in here as well. One of the things that I'll do sometimes if I like want more contrast or just want to try some new things, you can grab it and duplicate it right over there. And I'll get rid of my floating head, although I do really love it. It is super, super awesome. And you can actually relay the layer on top of it, but try some different blending modes on it. So as you can see, like if we soft light it, we've altered the color again. You know, if you do like a hard light, it's a different one right there. If you desaturate it with all these things, that's also different. Like there's like no end to the color combinations you can use when it comes to like experimenting in Photoshop with some of those colors. So that's one of the things that I really like.
Very cool. All right, so I think I have it narrowed down. I mean, honestly, to 10, but we're probably up to 25 or so. So we'll just switch here and we'll give each one a shout out and then we'll pick. Sort of, we have these two on the end, which are, again, the pop art. There's a couple like that are sort of poster-like. So Chandler's here. We have this one from Eric. So these are pretty cool. Then we'll get into some of the Avatar ones, which, again, I like the dual personality of this one.
Yeah.
The cutout effect.
Paper cut, super cool.
Of this one is nice. So shout out there. Yuri's, I love shortcuts.
Just gets to the core of me as a person. Yeah.
This one, again, they did 2 characters.
Just major props on that.
I love, this goes in the pop art section, kind of down here on the end. But it's really cool. Moving on, this is Nicolas, which is just pretty dope. I like how they did the glasses.
Yeah, me too. It's a cool interpretation of them.
Of course, this one I like to work destructive.
Yes.
This one's just a good...
Yeah, just a cool rendering.
All praise. The one with phrases that you've said have made the top 10.
That was a spiritual one. I like that.
This is cool too. Just like they got the shirt and the texture in there. This one's just super tight.
Yeah.
You know, super, super, super cool. And then the black and white one kind of stood out too amongst all the color ones. And planetary.
These are really stinking cool. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They're all really cool.
Do I make a decision now? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if there was like more fanfare that we were gonna put to it, or
I mean, like
somebody would come and play a
live saxophone or something while we decided.
Yeah. There's some music playing in the background.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting there is.
Kind of putting them in different windows. Just kind of, I'm trying to like put, maybe we get a narrow down to our top 3 or something.
Yeah.
I'm showing you the ones that I like. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let you know the cat one. While it's not an avatar of one of us, I do think it's like a spiritual winner is what I would say for it. Like it felt right in every way except for the topic. But in terms of like what it is and what it speaks to our souls with, I would consider it a winner in that way.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Shout out. I could always pull that one up.
Yeah.
That cat. It was on point. Done within the first 30 minutes too, by the way. Like they knocked it out.
Just remarkable work. Something that really speaks to the heart of what we do.
This is a pretty good representation of you. This one's pretty dope, just the whole theme of it all. That one we can't find.
Get going.
Again, hard work there. That's okay. That one's pretty good. Again, compared to some of these others, pretty tough to do.
Yeah.
Tough to...
I feel ready. I feel ready to make the call.
All right, let's do this.
Can I make the call?
Yes.
All right. It would be... could we go back to... this is the one.
This is the one.
It just... I really
agree.
Love it.
I agree.
I really do.
I agree 100%. They were all fantastic. 1 minute away. Stephen, Wayne, Piercy, you win Creative Cloud for a year. Congratulations. Thank you so much to all our winners. If we didn't show yours, we'll show it next hour. And just go full screen with us. You enjoy your second day?
It was amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been so fun.
It's been good.
It really has been.
Stick around for Kathleen and Julia Zoavo up next. Stay with us. Thanks, everybody.